in the last couple days, Bitcoin's been dumping like crazy, and a lot of people are wondering where it might be going in the near future. In this video, I'm gonna go through a few different possibilities and hopefully just end up with some mental clarity on where price action might be going. What I like to do before I talk about the present price action is I like to look at what's happened in the past and why it happened the way it did. Um, One way I think, one thing I like to do a lot of the time is, I've done this in my other videos as well, but I like to use, I like to measure these final moves down that are the manipulation. Anytime that a new low is made and then you get these sharp reactions off of these lows, I call those manipulation legs. So like this from here to here is the manipulation leg. So what I like to do is I measure those manipulation legs with the Fibonacci tool, which originally I didn't think was that great, but after trial and error and aligning them together, it starts to make a lot more sense. Let me give you an example. So this from here to here is the final move down, and just so you're aware, you can also sometimes measure it from the candle body to the bottom, and sometimes that actually gives you better results. So you just have to use trial and error to figure out which one's best. But you can see you can measure a lot of different ways here. If you measure it, what's interesting is if you measure it from the top of the 2017 bull run down to the bottom, right? This purple line gives you the 2021 top, right? And this gold line so far has marked this local top. And I want to give you a lot more examples to really help you understand or show you why this is so, why this tool gives a lot of credibility, right? Let me show you how this could have been predicted from right here. You take the Fibonacci tool from the final move up to the top, you get this blue line, okay? So you might mark this blue line. You wouldn't know what would have happened next, but you would have known when this broke down, you would have known lower prices could have been coming. So this is something you could have marked. Then from this candle body to the wick, you get this red line. See how that lines up very, very well? So the purple line isn't exact. We're not going to mark that one. And then we're going to mark this gold one since, well, is that exact? Not really. But you can kind of see like how those two that we had lined up exactly on the same spot, and it happened to be also the low. So when you get these sharp reactions off of these key levels, you know, hey, it's now going to be targeting all of these highs, and that's exactly what happened, right? We can do this again with this final move up that took out the high, right? So in 2021, late 2021, when you had this final move up, whoops, you had this final move up, took out the high, and then let's say let's say price actions on this day, January 17th, 2022. It breaks this previous low, so you know, hey, lower prices might be coming. Okay. What happens next is if I take I also like to take the midpoints of the manipulation legs as well. And these provide excellent entry points for the direction that price has been going recently. You can see it when it reacted off of this, you could have known, hey, it's now targeting these lows. And what happened? Price went and took out all of those lows and then proceeded to take out all of these lows. And you can also see that where did price end? Right when it broke through all of these lows. That was the bottom. Okay, now back to where what we were talking about earlier. So if I take the Fibonacci tool, right, from the low to the high of the manipulation, if I measure it, you want to measure it a lot of different ways, right? But let's start measuring it like this, okay? So maybe you mark the purple one and the orange one. You don't remember today is this day. We don't know what's happened yet. We're gonna mark the purple one and the gold one, okay? If I bring it out, okay, maybe we mark the blue one. I'm gonna zoom in. Okay, so none of them lined up. What about this final move up? Did that lead to anything? Nope. And you know, sometimes they don't always line up. But the point I'm trying to make is you find these key levels past previous highs and lows. Whoop. See how this blue line was slightly past all these lows? It didn't mark the bottom, but it marked a point of moving back up. This blue one marked this low. See that? Almost exact. So you measure a lot of different ways and you find where do all the levels line up. This red one's slightly past these lows. So you know that this could have credibility. You mark it. And you measure it all those different ways I talked about, from the wicks to the high or the bodies to the high. Either one. Alright, this gold one and this purple one both line up around the same area. So you can start to see, you find these hidden key levels that are slightly past old highs and old lows. Alright, now you know what happened in 2021. Let's talk about current price action right now. So we know highs and lows are targets. That's where smart money takes profit. So if I were to tell you exactly what smart money did with Bitcoin, this is what I would say. This sharp move down is where a lot of retail sold. They were freaking out. They didn't know how low it was going to go. They panic sold. You could see price started to build a base. Then it got this final manipulation move down, which happened to be a manipulation down into what was essentially this 2017 high I mean, if I pull it to the monthly, this high, it was acting as what's called an order block, which means this was a buy point for smart money. If I come back over here, once this broke this high, market structure officially shifted. When that happens, smart money likes to enter at the midpoint of the final move down. You can see that's exactly where price went to, right? That was smart money's optimal entry point. Now, what about this? Let's see if we can figure out exactly why that might have happened. From this candle body down, when you get this reaction, you're like, okay, now smart money is seeking higher prices. Where's the next target? This high, right? Smart money took profit there. Price came down, filled this imbalance, which if I were to show you this price action, this was actually a low, a high, a lower low, and a higher high, which is called a breaker block, which I can go over in another video. But together with that gap and that breaker block, this marked the low. Price came all the way up here, and now it's taking out this high. And we know when price takes out highs or lows, it's either going to run through those highs or it's going to react off of those highs. So far, to me, what this price action is telling me is maybe not in the long term, but in the short term, there might be some sort of a reaction off this high. So now let's zoom into current price action, because that's what this video is about. So this is the video for April of 2024. We want to know, where is price really seeking to go? Where does it want to take out? Right now, there's really two possibilities. In general, price would like to take all these out, but we must realize that this final move down, right, this midpoint, price is currently balancing on it, but it means nothing unless price can start to balance on this and build a base and then react off of it. Let me draw that line. So, can price build a base here? You do not buy right at these midpoints. You must wait, see if it builds a base and reacts. Once it reacts, you may now target the previous highs. So all of these relatively equal highs would be a target. And then all of these relatively equal highs would be a target. However, like I was saying, these are all areas smart money is also targeting, where people are going to panic and freak out and sell, essentially. So there's really two possibilities for where price wants to go, in my opinion. You're stuck in this range. This is a range. The smart money wants to take out both sides of the range, meaning they want to take out this low, and this low, and they want to take out this high and these highs. How do I know that? Because that's how smart money works. They purposely take out lows and highs so they can get as many people panicking and selling them either if it's taking out the lows, selling them their Bitcoin, or if it's taking out the highs, they're selling people their Bitcoin at a higher price. Okay. Now let's look at both cases, right? If price wants to come up here, My base case is that there seems to be a lot of lining up. I mean, it's like it's almost this high, but it's slightly past this high. So there seems to be a lot of lining up slightly past this high. See that purple one lined up as well. So what that tells me is very, very possibly, if I maybe just get this final one. Okay, that didn't do anything. Let's just try and measure it one more way. Let's see, maybe like that. No. Like that. That didn't line up with anything. All right, but we got 3 of them to line up. Let's measure this as well. No. Okay. So a lot of lining up right past this high, which tells me 2 things. If it comes up to this high, it might barely sweep it, which means that would leave like relatively equal highs. Since these levels would be basically equal, that means price is gonna wanna eventually come back here. And so it might come down after it gets back up to that high. And then with the idea of smart money is getting as much as they can for it to go way up. That's possibility number 1, right? Possibility number 2, and you could see, look, it's already reacting off that level already. So it's really interesting. Possibility number 2 is it wants to take out all these first, right? If it takes out all these first, that's fine because, it's going to come down here, come to this gap, this consolidation, and it's going to use that as this launch pad for higher prices. We are in an uptrend, and until that changes, we are in an uptrend. I really think that that the market's going to be seeking higher prices, but with that in mind, it wants to make everyone else wrong before they're right. So lastly, let's measure the final moves up so I can kind of show you where everything lines up. All right, let's mark this purple one, this gold one. Look, this red one marked that bottom. See how this purple one marked that bottom? See this red one. This blue one. And you can start to see how everything lines up at this 52K level, which makes a lot of sense because that is also the end of this giant weekly imbalance right here. Right? So if price comes down here, fills this over the course of the next couple months, consider that a great opportunity. And if it doesn't, if it comes straight up, watch for if it's going to react and then come fill here. Or, right, if it wants to just go straight up, that's fine as well. Because, look at this. Midpoint, possible reaction, and then where would price want to go? medium term, it really wants to go to 100K. So many levels line up at 100K. That's the last thing I'll talk about in this video. Is so many of these levels all line up at 100K. If I measure this final move down, and it makes a lot of sense because that's also a psychological barrier, right? Let me measure this final move down. Okay, see, look, 101K right here. Just very quickly, we're gonna measure all these different ones. 101K right here. Everything's lining up at 101K, which means that is where I think the first major pullback will happen, is 101K. If I measure this move down, that didn't get us anything. Let me get rid of this. You can see how the gold one also lines up at 100K. So, like I said, 100K, that's the medium term target. Whether it goes down here first, whether it sweeps these highs first and then comes here, or whether it goes straight up, 100K is the target right now. So, with that, I'll leave you to hopefully analyze this for yourself and figure it out. If you like this video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.